All right, it is Path of Exile 3.19 time, and the skill I'm going to be using in this league is Reave. Reave got a slight buff, but the buff was not enough to make it a usable skill unless you're using it with this body armor that also got a buff with a level 29 added chaos damage. This is extremely broken, and I'm pretty sure they will be removing it after this league, maybe even do a mid-league nerf. Not sure. Might not be as broken as I think, but right now I'm sitting at a million DPS, and if I put on Fox Shade, another pretty good buffed chest piece, it drops it down to under 400,000. So this body armor is going to be doing 60% of my damage. Now I'm going to be using a trickster with the polymath as the main base. I have 13 selected, which is 39% more damage and 13% life energy shield and mana recovered on hit. Take this off, it drops me down 3 to 400,000, so like a 30% drop. This is very well, I guess 39% if you want to be exact. I'm going to be using this flask. 2 worms out of this flask. So when I pop this flask, I'm gaining 29% energy shield, 29% life, and that flask is going to be recharged with these nodes. I'm pretty sure it's a hybrid flask, but I think they count hybrid flask as live flask. So every two charges every 3 seconds, 1 charge every 3 seconds. And then with that flask, it's also going to be removing non-elemental elements like bleed and poison. If I get something to remove poison and bleed, I could switch that to elemental to get rid of all those. Or I can just use purity of elements to get rid of that. I'm not sure what I'll do at this exact moment. I'll figure that out at the late game. But early game, you don't need to worry about ailments as much. I mean, yeah, early game, you don't need to worry about ailments. That's more of a late game thing when all those elements start to wreck you. The damage on this is, I think, pretty accurate at 1 million. I only have 6 wither stacks because I believe that's probably a more accurate representation than bumping this all the way to 15. Though if I wanted to switch one of my gems around, I can do the gem that applies wither and get it up to 15 if I really wanted to. But I like where my skills are at now with Fortify, Cruelty, Nightblade, Unbound, Multi-Strike, and Reave. I'll be utilizing and abusing the Nightblade mechanics with Withering Step. Using this node and this node, it's completely nasty. I can't believe it didn't get nerfed, but I guess there's not enough action in the melee skill department for them to justify nerfing things. Now, let's talk about my plans. I'm going to be going for frenzy charges. I'm going to be using this so I don't get freeze or cool down. I'm going with Heartstopper instead of this because my chest piece is going to be energy shield and not evasion. So since escape artist is completely useless in my build, I don't want to path to that to get to one of these better nodes. So I'm just going to be using this. It's going to save my dick a couple times, and it's going to let my dick get chopped off the other times. Now, as for my items, the ring, the amulet, and the ring are all likely going to be switched with yellow rares to give me as much life and energy shield and resistances as possible. My life currently is at 2,700. I'm probably going to need that up to 3,500, and the energy shield I want to get to 1,000. Right now it's at 674. Not sure I'll be able to get that high. We'll have to see as I'm playing how survivable it is. But I got some mechanics that are going to keep me alive pretty well. Evasion chance, 79%, extremely high. Armor at 59 fizz. Should be able to take a hit or two. And then I'm going to try to find the Mistwalker and use the Mistwalker shield. Hardly anyone uses this shield, but it gives you 75% block if you haven't taken a hit recently. So with about an 80% evasion chance, I'm going to be evading most hits, and the hits that I don't evade have a 75% chance to be blocked. So I think that's going to add a lot of levels. There's going to be a lot of luck to this build. I will definitely be playing it, and then all of a sudden just dead. And it's going to be annoying. But for the most part, I think I'm going to be able to survive pretty well, especially on bosses where I can evade most of their hits by dodging with mechanics. But anything that does get through, it's got to go through a lot of layers in order to hit me. 80% dodge and then 75% block. The odds are one of those is going to take it. Going to be using the Wasp Nest because this is an extremely good rare. But with the increased rarity of rares, it might be hard to find. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure this body armor is going to be nuts. So this will be the absolute first thing I try to get, even before the Wasp Nest. Unless the Wasp Nest is like 1C, I'm going to be trying to get this body armor very quickly. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this, and I think it's going to shoot up in price extremely high for the first week, if it's even available. So for the Frenzy charges, Snake Bite, it reduces the Frenzy charge duration, which is completely offset by the passive, which gives 200% increased charge duration. So the Snake Bite gloves add a ton of damage. So if I were to use what I believe are the next best, which is the Oscarum gloves, it puts it to 6.9. So Snake Bite bumps that up to 1 million. And these snake bites are going to be supported by this helmet, which is going to give me a 20 to 30% chance to gain a frenzy charge on critical strike at close range. I'm going to have 6 attacks a second at close range, so I'm probably going to be gaining 1 to 2 frenzy charges a second while battling in close range. Should be plenty good with frenzy charges. This also gives me a damage over time multiplier for bleed and a chance to bleed. So my bleed damage gave me an extra 25,000. Nothing to scoff about for some free damage and free frenzy charges. The Vanguard belt seems to be working pretty well because I'm going to have armor and evasion. But if I drop determination for purity of elements, I'll probably drop this belt and get something else. And the boots will give me +1 to frenzy charges. I believe these are all going to be pretty well synergized with each other. I think the build is going to be plenty tanky. I think the build is going to have plenty good damage. I'm going to be using Perfect Agony, which is like a, pretty good little damage boost there. This is a level 86 setup here. If it turns out that I'm not quite tanky enough, there's a lot of options I can do. I can get rid of this Flask setup, which I do think is going to help my tankiness a lot. And I can start to path up into here to get some energy shield and life. Maybe over to here to get some spell suppression. There's a lot of stuff I can do. I can keep it open. If I'm having mana troubles, I'll pop this on and give clarity reduction, which will give me some damage and also give me more mana. But I don't think I'm going to have mana issues because of here. Right now I have it on increased life leech, and my life leech on hit is 1,000 about. I think this is going to be fantastic. I love Reave as a skill. I like all of these. No, well, I fucking hate Heartstopper. Come on. Every 10 seconds, why do they do this shit? No one likes a fucking random ability. Like, oh, maybe I'll survive. Maybe I won't survive. It's a bunch of fucking bullshit. I fucking hate it. But I'll use it. And this is going to be such a weird-ass build because, 75% chance to block if I haven't blocked recently. 80% chance to dodge. I'm going to be dodging and blocking, and if any of that goes through, then it has another 50% chance to take 40% less damage. It's going to be fucking weird. It's going to be fucking wild. I'm excited. This build looks like it's going to be popping off, and it's going to be pretty lit. Now, a lot of people were saying with this polymath, like, oh yeah, you're only going to get like 3 or 4. I don't know what kind of fucking crack they're talking about. So, skill increased duration. Watch my damage when I take this off. That's fucking 80,000 damage for just that. That's pretty hot. And I can even, if I wanted to, put it on 10% less damage taken. This is a hot note. This is not wasted at all. It's extremely good. This one, maybe not so much. I could put on the 8% to do more. But I think I like the increased effect because it's going to give me more tankiness. You can argue that I could remove that and it would be more valuable. This one is going to be removing bleed and poison. Very valuable. Reduction in mana cost efficiency for grace. Extremely valuable. Critical strike chance is increased by chance for spell suppression. This is literally 57% increased crit strike. And if I go along this route, you can see me getting spell suppression and increasing my damage through spell suppression. And this probably is the route I'm going to do as I go to level 100, because this is going to give me more movement speed and spell suppression. And I like movement speed and spell suppression. Okay, plus 25% crit multi on unique enemies. This is my bosser. Only one that's really going to give me any problems is my boss damage. That right there is another 40,000. I think 1 point for 40,000 is pretty great. 20% increased poison duration. That is a big boy hit right there. Elusive, 40% crit strike chance. Another big old pump up right there. Life leech, quality of life. Right now I'm at 929. Let's pop that off. 819. I personally think that is extremely worth it. 50 life, obviously worth it. Precision. Now, maybe I can get rid of this 4 block, but this 4 block only adds, for that, it adds a 7, and then this is just kind of a nice to have. Puts my mana in reserve. I'm going to have to do a little bit of mana tweaking because I'm a little low, but I'll figure that out as the game progresses. Yeah, I think it's all of the ones I got, I think, are extremely worth it. 30% of chaos damage does not bypass energy shield. I think that's extremely important for someone with such a low life pool as myself with 3,500 life. I'm going to want some of that chaos to go through. So this is 13 on a pretty easy budget. I could even go to 14 if I need more mana there. I have 4 left. I could pop it here and get some strength, but none of these nodes are appealing to me, so this one I think would be a waste. I could swing up to here, get an extra curse if I really wanted to, but I think 13 is a pretty good number in my opinion. I could pop into here and get a chaos one, which does do a pretty good damage boost. But I think 13 is it. All right, that is the plan for the build. I think I covered most of the mechanics. Go through some configurations. I have the frenzy charges, which does a huge buff of damage because of all the ways I'm going to be utilizing that. My belt. I didn't talk about the belt. I think this is going to be best in... I did talk about the belt, I think. It's going to be best in slot, I think, because, you know, I'm going to be on Fortify, and it's going to give me onslaught. It's going to give me a bunch of damage. And I think that is it. All right. Best of luck on 3.19.